So I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself and introduce Marty, and then hopefully before all of y'all's introductions are done, Nancy will hop on. So I will let y'all know how that goes. So welcome back, everyone. We've got 35 people in the room, more joining every minute. And Marty doing Alexa lights in the background. I am Kendall Wright. I am the track captain, and we are, it feels like we just started, but we are closing out the marketing track with this panel on hacking the Instagram code and tips on how to break through in social media. We have had a lot of social media questions pop up, guys, in our other sessions, and we have referred them all to join this session. So I think you're going to have a really engaged audience, and I am excited to see you guys here. So that being said, as everyone who has been joining the marketing session knows, our goal for the marketing track this year has been to give everyone really tangible tips that they can leave for their business and implement this afternoon, tomorrow. And this panel is just full of social media rock stars who are well versed in both the business and personal side of the social sphere. And with that being said, I am excited to turn it over to Marty Martinez, the CEO and founder of Social Revolt, a Dallas-based social and digital agency. He is, as a couple of people have commented, an Instagram legend and a Dallas, a good person to know in Dallas, and an awesome person to watch as he kind of breaks through the social stratosphere. So I am going to sign off and jump into the comments. I'll be here, and Ramon will be here. If y'all need anything, we'll be sharing tips in the comments. I'll work on getting Nancy in. And otherwise, I will let you take it from here, Marty. Thank you guys for joining.
Thanks, Kendall.
Awesome. Thank you, Kendall. Well, hello, everyone. As you mentioned, my name is Marty, and I'm in a marketing agency here in Dallas, but today is not about me. It's about these fine panelists we have today. I think in a few minutes, we'll be adding a third one. But before we kick things off, maybe we can start with a little bit of introductions. Alyssa, would you care to kick us off? Tell us who you are, what you do, and maybe kind of what brought you into the marketing social space.
Question. Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Schoenberg. I am a behavioral therapist turned digital marketing, social media guru, nerd, tech dork, whatever. I moved to Dallas about 6 years ago to help start a firm, an agency, and then ended up just kind of merging into a different one, a bigger one. And so I'm still in the world of digital marketing. I work for a local media house now, and I'm happy to be here with everybody. And your questions are already fantastic. I can't wait to get going.
Awesome. You're up.
Yeah, so my name is Jonna Rutz, and I am actually not in marketing by trade. I'm a software developer through and through. I work for a technology consulting company called Credera, headquartered here in Dallas. And about 4 years ago, in 2016, started hearing about influencer culture from friends at work, and really just wanted to understand what it was in the context of social gamification and the ideas that on all of these platforms we're on, there are now metrics for success. So dove into this big experiment of how to figure out how, through data-driven methods, do you win at those platforms? How do you improve? And so accidentally kind of grew an Instagram following up to 25,000 at one point, just using those methods and talking about what I do for work. So excited to be here and answer questions.
Awesome. Thank you, you ladies, both for the introductions there. And I know we'll be adding one more, so she'll hop in probably in a few minutes. But to kind of kick things off, I know a lot of people across the spectrum realize the importance of social media marketing and how important that plays in the B2C and B2B buying cycle. But one thing that I think a lot of marketers and maybe entrepreneurs and small businesses out there struggle with is is how to put together a program that that yields the results that you're trying to achieve. Can you give us a little bit of insight into what does a successful social media marketing strategy look like, and what are things that these founders and startups that are listening in, what they should consider when building that out?
That is a loaded question. And Jonna, I know you're in the software realm of this, so please tag team with me. I think the first thing in any strategy that you want to try and use social media to grow your business is finding out where your audience lies. What platform makes the most sense for you? Is it Instagram? Is it Twitter? Is it Facebook? Is it TikTok? And that's what you have to kind of work with the strategist first to figure out. And even on your own, where does your audience engage the most? That's the biggest thing to figure out first. And then you can kind of break down the other questions that Marty was asking as well. So that's my first tip for sure. Figure out your platforms, number one.
I think, Alyssa, you nailed it. Absolutely, right? Successful media engagement is when you have the people who are benefiting from your product or service actually engaging with you, right? And social media is a super intimate thing because you're on people's feeds, you're right next to, pictures of their friends and family members. And so you want to figure out in what platform and what context do you fit into their life the best.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point. I think I see a lot of small businesses and really brands out there that get really caught up on taking action, like starting to put out content before they have a really good understanding of the platforms or the customer. Can you ladies share some insight into some of the pre-work that you do ahead of deploying that first post and deploying that first strategy? Because I think that will probably give a lot of people that are attending just some insight on where to begin. Because I think mistakenly a lot of people think of like just start posting, and just like I give this analogy all the time. You would never build a house and just start building. You have architectural plans and you see how everything is laid out before you begin executing. So can you ladies give a little bit of insight into your process where it comes to identifying, getting a good understanding of your customer long before you begin posting?
I think it depends on if you're new to social or if you've been on the platform for a handful. I think there's two different sides to this. If you're brand new to social media, you've never done it before. Let's just say an Instagram page. You've never had an IG, you need it for your business and you don't know where to start. I think sometimes just posting in the beginning and learning the platform in general is a good strategy. If you're new to the platform, if you're not, then yeah, being a little bit more driven and targeted on how you're going to go about building these posts, whether you're boosting them. I'm sure we'll get into that. What's the difference between a boost or a sponsor? Should I be posting that I posted on my story, all these different things? But if you're brand new and you've never done it, just go for it. There really isn't any rules in social, and being authentic and engaging and just posting what you feel in the beginning is going to get people more involved, as opposed to when you kind of think about it too much and make it too much of an algorithm-based thing in your head. That's my
yeah, no, that's a great point. I think a lot of people just get really hung up on it being too perfect, right? And not having that strategy. And sometimes you just need to go out there and make iterations along the way to find out what sticks, right?
Yeah, you'll learn from your mistakes. You'll do some things that are wrong. People are going to give you crap for your post, and you're like, what is this? I'm like, cool. Then that's not what your audience wants to see. Then you kind of make a transition and figure out what does work best.
And I know you had mentioned you started posting a lot about work-related stuff as a software developer, right? You bring probably a very unique insight to marketing. And I always appreciate being friends with those type of people because you don't think the way I do at all. So tell us a little bit about what you did to help sort of build your following in that sort of very niche of a space.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, Alyssa, to your point, like platforms are all different, right? And looking at different platforms when I was going into this, I chose Instagram very purposefully, not just because I am, amateur photographer. I'm a very visual person, so that platform made sense. But at the same time, Instagram is a non-reciprocal platform, right? It means that you can have public profiles, anyone can follow you, which made it prime for this experiment. And I actually initially did not start by talking about work. I started posting pictures of pets that I was pet sitting. Because I thought, hey, you know, I don't post on Instagram. What does everyone like? It's universal. It's cute dogs. And hey, it's true, right?
Oh, you're right.
And so I was like, hey, great. This is my content that's readily available to me. I can post this and share this. And I was tracking the numbers. Metrics are super important. And one day I had gotten like a new wig, right? And I just posted a picture of me in the new wig on my computer. It was just kind of cute. It was an experiment, trying something new with the content. And it took off. And I looked at that and I said, what the heck? Why are there people learning development on Instagram? Where did this community even come from? And so following the data, I started digging into that and finding out, hey, there's not enough representation from females in this area on Instagram right now, and just moved forward where the data said with those posts to talk about that.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I'm glad you said that, because I think the Instagram platform has really evolved from, it used to be where it was, you relied more on images, and it still does to this day. But one trend that I've seen just with COVID and over the last, even before that, the last maybe 18, 24 months, is people's desire to consume not long form content, but it's longer form content with the use of telling captivating stories within using the carousel. Have you guys seen a lot of that before, where it's 5 reasons why you should do X, and then you swipe through and there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen that be really successful with a lot of brands out there that aren't so image focused and don't have a cute little puppy to talk about all the time. But to your point, I think that there's a lot of communities out. There's a large community out there, really kind of for any sort of industry, whether it's the pet specific or developers or small businesses. I think there's a plethora of those type of communities out there. I do have a question that I think a lot of people will have. Most people find themselves, they've already launched a business. I know Reed mentioned earlier at the top of this that he had just launched a company called Dishers, and he knows that he's going to need social media, some sort of social media marketing support. But it sounds like his ultimate goal is to get people to the website. So can you ladies kind of share just different strategies that someone like Reed and the other entrepreneurs that are listening in that have that same common goal?
Yeah, and that's probably one of the top questions I get from people who own businesses and want traffic driven to their website through social media. Honestly, just to be completely transparent and just firm and raw about it, it's all pay to play, like in that sense. So you need to find a digital marketing company or one person, an agent or something that can help you out and teach you how to run ads on Facebook and TikTok. TikTok has ads now. There's a company that I just started working with it's an education online platform, and they're targeting college kids and high school students. So they're running their ads on TikTok now instead of Facebook, where their demographic doesn't lie. So it really is, if you want to drive that traffic from your Instagram page, your Facebook page, your Twitter account, whatever, you need to find somebody who understands how to run an ad strategy. And that's a long story how to do that, but find someone who's good at that. And that way you can drive traffic from those ads on platforms to your website. If your website doesn't suck, then you'll get the conversions. If your website's not that good, it's going to be a lot harder to get people to buy what you have online.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I see a lot of that happen out in the market, where historically when, maybe five plus years ago, when you created these accounts, you could rely on organic reach to get the word out. And gone are those days, Alyssa, as you mentioned, very much pay to play. And for any businesses out there that are tuning in, my sort of word of advice is, and I'd like for you ladies to weigh in on it as well. If you're not spending, you have to have a plan. I wouldn't hire an agency until you have a solid plan. And it might not be the best plan, but at least you're coming with an objective. But where I've been steering a lot of people and brands away when they ask me is that organic social on its own is not going to drive the traffic that you want. It's just not. You know, if you have 1,000 followers on your Facebook page, or even less than that, or even higher than that, I know that just a very small percentage of the audience actually sees the content. So one tip that I would give, and I'd like for you girls to weigh in, is really kind of the death of organic social. And I know there might be someone out there that's like, oh, hold on, well, organic is although it's valuable, I would never pay an agency to just, and I'm an agency, and I'm starting to not even take clients that just pay me to do their organic social because of the limited reach that it has. What is your take on that?
I'm going to let Alyssa go first on this one.
Yeah, no, that's great. And actually, I want to kind of, your question, piggyback that with, or Jasmine Adams, she had asked, let me scroll back a little bit, what advice would you give for growing brand awareness organically through Instagram? So yeah, like Marty said, that's a really hard thing to do now because, again, social media is pay to play. However, I will say this all the time because people are always looking for this magic pill, right? This one thing that they're going to be able to do on social media that's going to change the way that their business works. And if you do want to engage organically because maybe you can't afford ads or do anything along those lines right now, authentic on the platform and actually use it. Like, don't just post and then wait for people to see your post. Go under hashtags, like other people's stuff under certain hashtags, comment on other people's photos, share other people's content. You really have to engage in it properly if you want the organic results. But to Marty's point, it's just really hard to get any type of proper ROI off of just organic engagement on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok. It's definitely an ad strategy.
So I have never paid for ads. I have been paid to promote things, but have never had to set up one of those targeted campaigns. So I think, Alyssa, to your point, using those hashtags and really driving in and, you know, actively engaging with other users, it makes them aware of your brand to some extent, but it's not scalable, right? You can't spend 8 hours a day doing that and still get everything else done. So I think the other aspect of it is in the content you're creation or in the brand that you're creating, making it shareable. And I don't mean literally making it shareable. I mean making it something that people who are engaged with your brand would want to share. So Marty, you brought up almost like the mini slide decks, right? Mm-hmm. On Instagram, those 5 things you can do to do X, Y, or Z. So those are things that people who follow you would, you know, presumably share with other people, and they would share, and then it gets a snowball effect. Maybe without you actually having to pay money, but the caveat is your name can also then become disassociated with it, which is where those targeted ads from your platform have a lot of value.
Yeah, no, that's such a great point. I think and every platform's a little bit different, right? When I think of pay to play, I think of, like, for sure Facebook. But then there are examples, like you just mentioned, on Instagram, where if you have really, really bomb content that is like hyper targeted to your persona, to that target customer that you're aiming to solve their frustrations in the market with your product, I think that kind of creates those shareable moments that you're talking about. And I want to piggyback off of what you said, Alyssa. In regards to Jasmine's question about what advice would you give for growing a brand awareness organically through Instagram, I think establishing lots of partnerships and sort of like mini collaborations with other like-minded Instagram accounts. So, for example, if your passion is if your passion is maybe entrepreneurship, or that's one of the topics that you're discussing, or in my example, it would be marketing. You could find other sort of influencers in that space, and that are of similar size, where there's not you guys aren't sharing audiences, and you can see that really easy if you go on your Instagram account or your company's Instagram account, you go click on let's say another influencer that's equal in size. When you see who they're following, it'll tell you how many mutual friends you have. But the idea is that if you're passionate about topic A and B, and you find another person that's equal to your size that is talks about A and B, then one massive missed opportunity I see in the market right now is doing those Instagram lives where you're split screen. And now what's happening is your audience and that person's audience, they're now sharing that they just notified all of their followers that they're going live. But now you can pretty much assume that if their 30,000 followers are consuming and responding favorably to content A and B, then if we have a joint Instagram split live talking about topics A and B, it's so easy to rack up 100, 150, 200 followers, and that doesn't cost you anything. And I think now amidst COVID, when we all have lots of time on our hands, I think those sort of collaboration opportunities are a lot more readily available, for you to utilize.
Absolutely. I do have one thing, Danielle. I don't know if I'm gonna say your last name right. Couric, when you said, can you share more on getting those paid sponsors to or paid to promote? More specifically, do you mean like sponsoring a post or finding an influencer to pay to promote? Which one? Just want to make sure I'm understanding that question right. Either. Okay. And you guys please jump in on this, because I mean, so promoting, like boosting and sponsoring, I know that's something that a lot of people are like really confused about. Do I boost a post? Do I sponsor a post? What do I do? Boosting is great for your internal following, the following that you already have. So what's happening right now is, even with mine, if I post on my Instagram and I decide not to boost my post, right? Now I get pretty good engagement on my own, but naturally it's going to take people a lot longer to see that. The posts drop down on people's feeds pretty quickly because they want you to pay to get that post back up there. So boosting a post is great if you have a good following, your followers like your content, maybe they're just not seeing it right now, or they're missing your posts. Boost for that reason. Sponsoring is a little bit more targeted. But in terms of an influencer, and you guys can probably touch on this more than I can, influencer marketing, it's just really about finding somebody who can connect you with the right influencers and then just creating a deal. And it's either you're going to trade product with someone to promote what you're talking about, or they're going to ask for some type of cash return. It depends on how many followers the influencer has, then usually you can get away with, let me give you a free product, push it out for X amount of time. The deal you make with the influencer.
Yeah, and influencer marketing is really, really interesting because it relies a lot on the company that is approaching you, them having a strategy and goals. And the more concrete that is, the better it is. So particularly, I've done a lot of product reviews, right, where it's been, little robots for educational purposes. It's been, tools or accessories for working at your desk, and it's been very on brand. At the same time, I've had companies reach out where it's unclear, what they're looking for, whether it's, hey, we're trying to promote this snack, or we're trying to promote watches, and it's stuff that's very off-brand that I personally rejected because it doesn't make sense and it won't benefit my audience or their audience. Oftentimes I've gotten those solicited just directly through emails. I have my email available on Instagram, and I'll have managers from ad agencies email me saying, hey, we have a contract. Are you interested in this? And laying that out.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I'm curious of what your thoughts are on the rise of these micro and nano influencers, and what your, how do you two use that, if you have used in the past, that strategy to get sort of a better bang for your buck? I
like this question a lot. I think it's great, really, the micro influencers, using smaller ones. It's great for example, I'm nobody special, I'm not an influencer. I have like 22,000 followers on my Instagram, right? So I have friends that will come to me, more specifically, one of them, he works for Organic Muscle. Or not works for, it's his company. It's a health and fitness brand. And he's like, okay, you used to be in this industry, Alyssa. Can you push some product for me? Post it on your Instagram story or on your feed, and I'll give you free product in return, okay? Now, why that's advantageous for him as opposed to going to a bigger one is because my followers, even though it's not that big as opposed to millions, really, really, really authentically trust me. And they love what I'm doing because they follow my content for a reason. So it doesn't seem like, oh, I'm just this paid influencer. which a lot of people are, and a lot of people don't really click and buy off those people as much, depending on what the campaign's about. So for micro ones, they're good to go after if they have a really trusted following. And it's just like I probably sold, I don't even know how many of his organic muscle pre-workouts or whatever in a day because of that. So I guess just to be a little bit more clear, it's how authentic you want to be. Are you just picking that influencer, that person, because they have 1 million followers and you're like, oh my goodness, but it has nothing to do, their audience has nothing to do with your brand or your business? That might not be the best route. Maybe go micro, go to a smaller person who does match or mirror your brand or your business and get a better return that way. And they end up telling their friends, and then their friends tell their friends, and kind of explodes.
Yeah, that intimacy aspect is really important, right? Because when you're looking at influencers, it's a recommendation, not an ad at that point.
Right.
Or that's the perception of it. I think in addition to that, if you're thinking about micro influencers, I'd also ask for the return on the metrics, right? I can count probably on one hand the number of brands that have actually asked for the statistics after their ad has run. They just haven't done that. And having that data in your pocket can help you make decisions about whether you should engage in that in the future.
Yeah, and I think that's all great advice, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that, like me, I put myself in the shoes of the entrepreneurs as attending Dallas Startup Week for as long as I've been in Dallas now, so several years, and I know that money is probably tight for a lot of these companies. What would you say are some easy, low-hanging fruit strategies that they could implement to help maybe drive leads or website traffic? Because I think at the end of the day, that's all we're really talking about. And whenever I talk to businesses, they all have a goal, and the goal is never really to grow their Instagram or grow their social media following. The way I see it is that more often than not, these people, they self-prescribe themselves. It's almost like going to a doctor. You would never go to a doctor and says, hey doc, I know exactly what I need. Here are my symptoms. And that's what I see happen a lot in the market is, startups and businesses, they come and they say, hey, I need a social media marketing strategy. And you start asking, why? Well, because I want more visibility. Why? Well, because I want more website traffic. Why? Because I want them to fill out a form. Why? Because I'm trying to schedule a call with them so that I'm in position to sell to them. So it's only after you ask that why do you get to the nitty-gritty of what most people are trying to accomplish. So if you were on a sort of a grassroots budget, what are maybe 3 things, maybe high level, that you would recommend for a lot of these businesses to focus on to build their brand or business?
So I have a couple. I mean, organically low-hanging fruit. I think that's really where you just need to kind of take some time, like put this in your hand and learn the platform organically. And like I said before on Instagram, where you do have more of a chance organically is going and looking under hashtags. Like, let's just say, Dallas living, Dallas lifestyle, whatever it is, just for example, broad example. Clicking on that hashtag and just going under people's posts and engaging with them, saying, man, I really like this post that you did. What do you do? Where are you from? Liking someone else's, like actually organically be involved in Instagram. And that is a great way. I get people asking me all the time just because I take the time to do that. What do you do for a living? What's your job? And I've gotten business off of just organically engaging with audiences and not, looking at stories, liking people's stories, commenting on stuff. And again, not just like throwing out any random post about your business, because to be honest, agenda-driven content, a lot of times, no one cares. Like, I'm just going to be real. If you're just blasting your business all the time, it gets really obnoxious. So people want to see you, and they want to see you engage and like their stuff too, and compliment them. And it's kind of like forming this community on the platform. If you don't have a budget to run ads, just actually utilize it thoughtfully.
Yeah, I think if it was going to be 3 things you got right, you find and engage with your audience. I think, Alyssa, number 1, that's the biggest thing. I think number 2 is you do have to create some sort of content. So if you're an Instagram page with 0 posts commenting on other people's posts, they're gonna come, they're gonna look at you, they're gonna see
you're a bot. Yeah.
they won't know what you're about.
Yeah.
And creating content doesn't mean, 5 times a day or 5 times a week. It might be just a cadence where you do it once a week, right? When you have the time to do it. Because those posts in the feed will quickly lose their relevancy within, 24 hours organically on their own. But you need something for people to look at if they are looking for you. And then the third thing, if you're still experimenting with platforms, you don't know what you're doing, maybe you don't have a lot of time to create content, is cross-posting. There are a lot of really easy ways to say, hey, I'm going to post on Instagram, and every time I do that, it will also go to my Facebook page, my Twitter, it'll be on Pinterest. And that's a really easy way to make technology work for you for free.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and there's a lot of marketing automation out there to help you do that, right? There's if this, then that. For those of you who don't know, it's sort of a rules and conditional based sort of software that allows you to just to have automation around your social. And it doesn't just do social, it literally does everything. So for those of you guys looking to way to kind of improve your workflow as it pertains to social, if this, then that is a good platform. And I know a couple other people had asked about social media platforms like Later and Hootsuite. If you're an owner out there, and I know every founder and every business owner is looking at their expenses and really looking hard, like, do I really need to make this expense? What are your guys' thoughts on the necessity for platforms like Hootsuite, Later, or Sprout Social?
Yeah, and there's so many of them out there now too, which is crazy. They're growing rapidly. That's a really good question. Also, I think if you utilize them, they'll know. So like Instagram, I mean, as much as yes, these things are necessary, but it goes back to posting organically is always going to get you sometimes the best return. But I understand people are busy. You have a business to run. Just make sure that if you do that, if you use a platform to automate your posts, that you're still doing your due diligence of going in there after they've been automatically posted and still commenting on people who have commented on your post, liking their stuff back, and still using your hands to go in and engage, because there's no automated platform that can save you time. And that's a brilliant strategy, but nothing's going to beat the return that you get when you actually utilize it. So if you don't have that time to hire an intern, like find somebody after the posts are being automated and put out there, make sure you're going back in. And if anyone comments on your post, you're commenting back. What I recommend don't ever doing. A lot of people.
This will be good.
I know, right? A lot of people will post on Instagram, like they'll post on their phone on Instagram, and then click that little slide button that also posts to Facebook. So on your Facebook, it'll say posted from Instagram. Your engagement's just gonna suck if you do that. Don't do that. Like if you're gonna do one on your phone already, then just do the other one on your phone. Do them separately, not from one platform, but like something like Hootsuite or whatever. Or Sprout Social, just make sure that after they're they're posted and they're automatically, that you're going in organically afterwards.
That's a great tip. And one thing that's been coming a lot of people have been asking me, really as it pertains to kind of building out a strategy. How imperative is it to have an understanding of the customer journey? When it comes to running anything on social? Do you guys take into consideration when you're putting together strategies, Alyssa, for your clients, of walking them through that awareness, interest, consideration sort of funnel, and creating content that's geared towards answering those questions at every stage along the way? Yeah,
of course. I mean, the journey is definitely important. I have had clients that I've worked with in the past that didn't even have an Instagram page or a Facebook, and they didn't care to, and they just needed a quick post and a quick ad that drove traffic to their website right then and there for people to click and sign up on something. So it's like, know this too. You don't have to have an account on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever to run ads on that platform. There is a beautiful thing in having a long-term strategy, but if you need you have the capital to put into an ad spend and you need people clicking on your website and buying ASAP, that's when, build a brilliant ad, put it out there ASAP, just get people to click, boom, drive traffic to your website. But to your point, there's definitely a big strategy in making sure you're walking your client through everything. It's their baby, it's their brand, it's their business. And at the end of the day, I want to get to know that more than anything, or I'm not going to win with you.
So I know we've probably, we've made, in all of our journeys in this sort of marketing space, I know I've made a ton of mistakes and have learned a lot of secrets along the way, things that I wish I would have known earlier on in my career that I know now. In an effort to give the audience that's listening in today, what are some of your secrets? Now, don't hold back, because we have 93 people in here, so you're not telling the world, but just these 93 that are here. For these almost Instagram hacks, these marketing hacks that you try to keep close to your chest, then it's my job to pull it out of you. So what do you got?
So I can start with two things. So the first one is that there is, to some extent, a formula for a successful Instagram post. And researchers have done studies on this. You can Google it. You can figure out exactly what it is. Photos with the human face in it do markedly better than almost any other kind of post. So if you're looking at experimenting between just content types, that's definitely one thing to consider. Another hack, which I think I learned the hard way, was setting expectations with your audience can help retain them. So setting expectations might be, hey guys, I'm going on vacation for a week. You're not going to hear from me for 7 days. And setting that expectation with them can actually keep people from, jumping ship because they think that you're just gone. And it creates almost a discussion in a relationship between you and your audience without you really having to do anything.
That's a really good one. Absolutely. Mine, I have one that I use personally, and it's actually worked as a strategy with my clients in the past. And me personally is to stop trying to be like super stuffy and professional all the time on your Instagram or your social media platforms. I mean, it's people can see through the BS like pretty easily when people are just being too straight edge, and all of your posts are very like methodically done. And it's okay to throw in something controversial in there every once in a while and get people to react and get your stuff buzzing. Just not everybody is, this isn't like church all the time. Like, we can be a little bit more open and honest and a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, risque, not like in a dirty way, but just like posting things that's just more authentic. Like sometimes, throw a cuss word in there every once in a while, and people are like, what did she just say? And they're like, why do I like that so much? And then they'll fall. The biggest hack is to just really be authentic and stop trying to like create the next coolest ad or the next best post, or using all these different editing tools to just be you. And people really like that. I know you probably want something a little bit more crazy, or some, like I said, that one pill to swallow that's going to be that thing that changes it. But if there is one, it might just be that on social media.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I'll share a couple of tips of mine. One that I alluded to earlier is collaboration. If you could identify 3 to 5 different brands or influencers that, like, everyone is on the platform. If they want to stick around, everyone has ambition to grow. That's just kind of how it is. I don't think that there's an influencer out there that's just like, I'm not interested in growing. I think everybody, whether you're a brand or a personal brand, you have interest in growing. But fostering those sort of collaborations within a small, intimate group of people, and finding ways to cross-promote each other. Like, if you think of 5 people that have, let's say, 10,000 followers, if you're intentional with creating content together, going on Instagram lives together, posting about each other, shouting each other out on the Instagram story, because it's really easy for them to just click one button and then it adds it to the story. But I think more collaboration would help sort of improve engagement with your awareness to brand new followers, and it'll help you build a community around that. And also, there's now pinned comments too. That's something that Instagram has rolled out. So then even within that intimate group, it's like your little posse of supporting each other. And maybe a lot of people have heard about Instagram pods, right? Where it's really sort of transactional. You're in a large Instagram group. For those of you who don't know, these pods are created with other Instagram influencers And people will share a post, and then the rule is people go in and comment. And I'm not a really big fan of that. That's why I'm saying keeping it very intimate. And if you can align with what each of those 5 people's goals are, you can help them, each other, grow exponentially. Second one would be the Instagram live hack. I think people enjoy this type of stuff. And I know that there's a lot of businesses out there. That commented that are trying to solve a need in the market for their customers. And having just the Instagram platform for people to go on and talk about that, I think is another key one. And the last one I'd mention is video.
Yeah.
Video is really important, and there's a lot of startups out there that probably don't have the budgets to do video. I can tell you this, go to promo.com, promo.com. I cannot tell you how many times our team has created videos within that ecosystem for clients that oftentimes outperform the $5,000 video that a client paid, for a creative team to do. Simple is often always a little bit better. And I think there was another example of someone in the audience that talked about, spending a lot of time on something, and it's just the simplest things just tend to take off.
Yeah, and Marty, to what you were saying earlier about the pods, because it actually kind of shocks me. I didn't know people were still doing that, to be honest. But it's a great strategy, and here's why. What he means is, like, in your small group, telling each other you're going to comment or like each other's photo, like when it happens, when it goes out, right? Like the more comments that you get on your picture, or more likes or engagement overall, the more your photo is going to populate at the top of the feed. So that's why it's important when someone comments on your picture, you need to comment back, because the more engagement that's under your photo, your post, the more chance you have of that post repopulated in the back of people's feeds. They're going to see you more often. So that's why those little strategies, if you do cross promoting and you do have friends that are on, like, shoot them a message like, hey, will you go like my post, or go comment on it really quickly, because that's going to help your post get more engagement authentically.
Yeah, and I think commenting back is crucial, but even trying to initiate a follow-up conversation rather than if someone says, oh my God, love this.
Yeah.
Right? Most people just say thanks,
yep,
a heart or an emoji, right? But saying, thank you, I'm so glad you love this. What about it resonated with you?
Yes.
So then now it's like you're leaving a lead for there to be more conversations. And I don't know about you, but whenever I see a post, I'll go through and I'll read a lot of comments.
It's, I will too. We're doing conversations in there. Jump in, and that's a good to jump in and then also comment on theirs, because then 9 times out of 10 when I comment on my post, what do? I'm going to click and see, I don't know who this is. Click, and then I'm going back to their Instagram page. Yeah. So boom, engage, get involved, get really involved.
And for those that follow me on, Instagram, like that, it's very time consuming. But one life hack that I do is either while I'm on the elliptical, it's you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You're commenting, you're engaging, and you're also getting your exercise and fitness in.
Marty,
you were saying?
Point on collaboration. I think identifying other people that are in your realm is important, but also you can also collaborate with your audience. One really effective tool that I've seen is someone in the tech world, they started a newsletter, right? Where they said, hey, every Tuesday, I'm going to send out a newsletter that has all of your greatest successes. If you fill out this form, I'm going to publish it. I'll publish it on my stories. I'll publish it on my platform, and I'll shout your successes to the world. And she just made that form public. And with that, her audience has grown from people who wanted to be included in that newsletter, and then also people who just enjoy understanding what's going on in the community. It's now like an online community newsletter at this point.
Wow, that's awesome. And such a great strategy. I've never heard of anyone doing something like that, but it makes sense, because I feel like everybody now more than ever, everyone wants to be part of a community, because we're just sitting at home playing our cello or a ukulele,
Yeah. What else are you going to do next?
I'm just kidding.
But as we get into the last 10 minutes, I wanted to save this time to talk about a platform that's probably on a lot of people's minds. We've seen TikTok in the news, and with how the recent administration obviously feels about that. I think they have 3 bidders right now. Microsoft and Walmart are in the running to buy TikTok, and so's Oracle. Now, what are your thoughts on TikTok? For those out there that I'm sure have heard of it, or they've seen their kids not doing work and doing these dances, and what are your views on it, and is it a viable platform that people should consider?
I only have one just minor thing to say. I mean, it's a great platform to run ads on. If you can find somebody who understands how to push ads on TikTok, it's a platform people are signing up for more than ever right now, and it's a great way to drive traffic to your site, given the demographic falls there. But it's so new, and the ads are actually, I've seen the ad strategies work on the back end, and they're quite brilliant. So this is just something to consider with someone who understands how to do it. Talk to someone who specializes in this sort of stuff, and utilize it right now to drive a great traffic to whatever platform you're pushing towards, or website or whatever. But it's a great ad strategy platform for sure. I've seen it do some brilliant things. So
yeah, I just second Alyssa. It's a new platform, and it works different than the ones that a lot of us are accustomed to. In that, things from a year ago could go viral tomorrow. And that's just like a very different form of content generation and proliferation that we've seen with the other platforms. I have heard from like a content creator side, the payout isn't necessarily the same that you would see on other media sites. But if you're going direct ad and it works, be mindful of your audience and try it out.
That's a great point. I think testing it is really important, and it all depends on your demographic. If your target market is 40 plus, even 30 plus, I would probably stay away from it. But I do think it's where a lot of the younger people are going. And again, it all comes down to your customer. What are you selling, and who are you selling to? And Alyssa mentioned at the very top of this discussion that having a good understanding of where your customer is and what platforms make sense for you is going to differ from another company and another brand. And one thing that I'll say is we've been experimenting with TikTok, and I actually have I have links that I was given by TikTok for a lot of the brands that we're working with. They're trying to woo people marketing spends from Facebook and Instagram to TikTok. And I will be dropping my email at the bottom of this chat. But I actually have a link for all 95 people on today's panel. I have a link to give you $300 worth of TikTok credit for you to use at your disposal, however you want, for your brand, personal brand, whatever. So if you guys shoot me an email, I'll drop my email here at the bottom. I'll send you guys those links. And it won't hurt to just get familiar with the platform. And it sounds like Alyssa has been running some of those campaigns and has been seeing some really great results. So it's free money. Why not, right?
That's really cool, Marty. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no, of course. But hell yeah, everybody loves that. Sweet. So as we go into the last 5 minutes here, maybe you guys can maybe ask some questions there in the comment section, and we'll try to field as many questions as we can. And we'll try to answer them concisely so we're able to get through them really quick and provide some value to you guys that are taking time out of your day to be with us today.
Kendall, yes, allow video questions. I think that's great. It's hard to keep up with all the.
I know. I should have probably waited to the very end about. All yes.
Okay, let's. Wait, there she is.
I've been laying on my couch just enjoying all of your tips. So, whoever wants to request to share your audio and video, we can go about 5 or 10 minutes over before it kicks us out. So request, and I will allow you in. And you can ask this awesome panel your own question live. Marty, that was an amazing offer. Thanks for coming with the goods to this panel.
I want it. Can I win it or no? If I'm on this, do I not?
Oh yeah, and I'm just giving it out to everybody. So if you guys shoot me an email, I'll send you the link.
I'm just messing, but I might.
Everyone's a winner.
While we wait on someone. Video chat. Oh, Justin Varghese is coming in.
Hey y'all, great chat. I had so I guess as a reference, I'm the gaming and esports track captain, right? And one thing that I see time and time again, whenever non-endemic brands in particular try to enter the gaming and esports space, there's this really silly meme of like a crab that shoots lasers out of its eyes and it says "Silence brand." I don't know if y'all have seen that before or not, but it is very present, especially when non-endemic brands try to have the hokey, slightly depressed, relatable human, not a brand kind of vibe that goes on. So earlier in this talk, y'all were talking about how important authenticity is. What is the fine line where you're truly authentic and you're not taking it so far that it gets into silence brand territory?
Your audience will tell you that. I've gone there before. Kendall knows me pretty well, and I push the boundaries. I push the limits. I'm kind of outlandish. And my audience has told me to chill. So I think that they'll let you know. But you know what? It's like, shoot your shot. And it's better to have people kind of recognize you and then tell you also, like, maybe tone it down a little bit than just sitting on the wayside, like, the kid on the wall at recess and no one really comes up to him. So, but that's a really good question. That's just my 2 cents. Someone else can jump in.
Nope, that sounds about right? The people that you are trying to target, if they're doing that, they're giving you the honest feedback of your approach, and that it's not working. So you maybe listen to that. If you want to try again, try to change the approach. Don't try doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Sweet, thanks y'all.
Awesome. All right, Justin, I'm gonna knock you out. I have 2 questions I want to ask while we wait and see if anybody else wants to come in. One is, did you see Ruben's comment about hashtag hacking? This is selfish as the marketing track captain. He was talking about hashtag hijacking and that he finds that really effective. And I responded that I actually find that really annoying, both as a marketer and as a consumer. So I'd love to hear, do you guys recommend that to your clients?
I don't. That's a good question, and one that I don't think I have the best answer for. To be honest, I don't. It's not the strategy I've ever used. So I guess that there's my answer. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah. Marty.
Yeah, the problem with that, and I think someone had mentioned it, is while you'll get a lot of maybe visibility and reach, it's going to be because you did hashtag Justin Bieber. And what value does that have to the product that you're selling? If your goal is reach, well, sure, that's one way to do it, but I always get down to the why. You want reach so that you build impressions, so that you build a credibility among a specific target market, so you could get them to come to your website, fill out a form and say, hey, Marty, I need this service. I see all the great things you do. If you're gonna hijack a hashtag like hashtag Justin Bieber or insert any popular IG handle, you'll be in front of people, but no one's gonna buy your stuff. It reminds me of that Instagram influencer that had like 1 million plus and I think sold 4 or 5 things. Then you end up doing that. Right. Congrats, you have a massive brand, but no one is willing to spend even $20 on that mug that you just created, with a catchy little tagline.
No, and as a consumer, when I go to it and I'm like following a hashtag, right? And then all of a sudden something comes in that's like a real estate listing, I'm very annoyed, as opposed to being like, oh, what's this in my Justin Bieber fan? Okay, we've got another person coming in. Denver.
My man, Denver, what's up?
Hey, Marty, good to talk to you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, real quick question about campaign cadence. So, like, I post a lot of different campaigns, and I've always been a little concerned the longevity, like how long should I create this particular content within this vertical, like for a week or a month? I don't want to like oversaturate or like, just beat my audience to death about one specific genre of content. So I'm always reluctant about like, how long should I post this content, this particular, vertical content, and then mix it up? Thanks.
Can you give maybe an example about that, and that might help the panelists answer that a
Yeah,
little bit more?
so let's just say I'm marketing a product or something, and I am posting it out, and I'm posting it on like maybe TikTok or Facebook, Instagram, maybe in Twitter, and then like should I run that campaign for a week or 2 weeks? I guess that's what I'm speaking to. Like, how long should I run typically before I should switch to a different,
To a different content
yeah.
piece. Are you tracking your and this is like John is really good with this kind of like, are you tracking your metrics and how the campaign's doing and performing and how many clicks it's getting? And because if you're looking at that, that's a pretty good telltale to if it's time to change it up, or if it's working for you. If it's working and you're getting the return that you want, then keep it rolling. Obviously, people are liking it, but that just, I think for me, has everything to do with tracking that campaign. The data will tell you everything, but John, I feel like probably is more well versed in this than I am.
I agree. Follow the data, and I think it also depends on if this is a long running marketing scheme, right? Is this a product that you're going to be promoting for the next year, or is it truly just the next week? And if it is longer term, I have a rule of threes in terms of content. So swap up the cadence of your feed or your post, whatever it is. So, start with that product, move on to maybe, scientific evidence, what other people think about it, move on to customer reviews, and then go back to just marketing that product again, and oscillating. So even if you're, providing basically the same message, please buy this, you're providing different mechanisms and reasons for people to click on it.
And so one thing that I would say is regarding like when you know that that piece of content has achieved its objective, I think about it all in the customer journey. We go through a scenario where we're building the persona, and we know that our buyer is between 25 and 33, and we've identified all the demographic information and then all the psychographic information, and we'll use that and we'll create a fictitious character, and that's the persona, right? That this person was a recent college grad from this college, and they enjoy going to brunch on the weekends and hanging out with their friends, and they have a dog, all these little details. And we put that on a wall, and this is before we start any campaign. We're like, okay, that's who we're trying to connect with. And so at each stage in the funnel, what are we trying to accomplish in that awareness stage? And with that awareness, we want them to know this specific group to know who we are and what our product or service solves. And then with that, what we set is a frequency. I want these people that fit this criteria to engage with this type of content at least 2 to 3 times before I then send them on to the next piece of content that is more about the how my service or product is going to help them solve their problem. But I think if you're intentional with that, you have to know what the little triggers are that are going to say, okay, now I pounded this messaging in the awareness objective. Now next, I want to establish how easy it is to use my product or service. And then you had mentioned earlier about the importance of testimonials. Then show the social proof, and that way you're just constantly running that funnel from beginning to end. And in the back of Facebook, you could actually use rule-based triggers. So you can say that if this campaign has a frequency greater than, let's say, 2.5, then turn off and then trigger another ad. And that kind of gets into the automation stuff. But it's sequential paid advertising.
Yeah.
And Deborah, I'm down to talk with you offline about this too, because I'm a little nerd.
Yeah, I like that. I like the staging. I didn't consider that. So that's what you're speaking to. It's staging. So good. Claps all around, guys. Great job.
Totally.
Denver,
Awesome. Thank you, Denver. Great question.
thank you so much. Jonna and Alyssa are answering the other questions in the comments. I think that is all the time we have today. I am so grateful to all of you. That was so helpful and so informative, and I can tell by the engagement. We had almost 100 people in, and the comments were super active. Guys, every one of these lovely panelists today is on social and very active on social and very responsive
I
on
was gonna
social.
say, how do people contact us? Is our information, if they have any other questions, to
Drop your
information is,
drop your Instagram.
I will give you that. Well, my Instagram is just my name, so it's literally just Alyssa Schoenberg. But I'll give you my email as well.
On Dallas Startup Week Instagram, all of them will be tagged. So go for it, hit them up, get some more tips, use them, hire them, do awesome things with your social media marketing, and we will see y'all all on TikTok. Thank you.
Bye.
Guys.
Hey, great job, Kendall. Great job. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Great job, Marty. Y'all were excellent.
Besos.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.